Second. Okay, how many speakers do we have for public comment?
There are 10 speakers.
All right, let's call the 10 speakers 2 minutes each. Let's hear, they said they want to address the board and they want to hear it early enough, and then we'll get to the other ones because I have to leave, but I want to hear them.
So I'll call those speakers. If you'll please listen for your name and come up and sit in the front seats so we know you're here. Giorgio Constantino, Tony Favila, Karen Shebek, Leslie Reckler, Laurel Gillespie. Let me call those names one more time. Giorgio Constantino, Tony Favila, Karen Shebek.
Okay, come on up, Karen. They called your name, so you can go. Just come on up. 2 minutes.
Leslie Reckler and Laurel Gillespie.
Okay. Should I start? Okay. Good evening. As a parent in the district for 12 years, I volunteered with many others to support Measure K. It is sad we lost by 500 votes throughout the district. Now our students face a cut of an additional $9.6 million in annual funding. This is on top of the average $8 million each year that have been cut by the state and federal government the last 5 years. With less taxes come less services. Simple arithmetic. Maybe we weren't clear enough about Measure K. We were renewing a tax that is going to expire. Let's not make that mistake again. The voter information booklet incorrectly said that the tax wasn't deductible. The West County Times editorial had its facts wrong. The Chronicle didn't deem our 29,000 students worth an opinion, although they reported that the debt was paid off. TV crews park outside our schools after fights. But maybe it's not sensational enough that we are now set up to fail all of our students. Where can our voters go to get accurate information without spin? Did the campaign have too much spin? The increase was in cents a square foot. The cut in state funding was $40 million. Voters shouldn't need a calculator to understand simple arithmetic. Let's not point fingers. There were nearly 4,000 yes votes in Hercules and Pinole. Can the PTAs in those communities get more involved? There were 6,300 no votes in Richmond, El Cerrito, and Kensington. Was that because they had read the newspaper and voter information guide? Is it against campaign law for the district spokesperson to correct the facts? Voters can handle the truth. Let's stop being antagonistic and argumentative. Trustees, please act swiftly in getting a measure to our voters. Explore different ways of sharing information. Let's focus less on who endorses the measure and more on getting voters to understand it and vote for it. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to call these names one more time just to make sure. Giorgio Constantino, Tony Favila, Leslie Reckler, Laurel Gillespie, Sarah Creeley, Sarah Wolfsen, Sarah Creeley, Sarah Wolfsen, Nathalie van Linder, Ellen Hartigan-O'Connor, and Al Kirkman.
Hi. First of all, I would like to thank you for your service. Serving our children is probably the most important duty that any of us have. My name is Sarah Creeley, and I'm a teacher at Hannah Ranch, and I'm wearing my Distinguished School t-shirt from Hercules. I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera, but it's a beautiful shirt, and we all have one. The reason that I'm here is because, I was a little disappointed in things I've read, and I don't honestly know if it's accurate or not because I haven't heard anything from Mr. Ramsey, but apparently on the Hercules patch and Pinole patch and El Cerrito patch, there are some comments that you reportedly made. And so until I hear clarification from you, either like maybe by phone or something, I'm not going to say anything about that. But I'd love to hear some clarification about what was said and why. But the reason I'm here is because when I wanted to speak about that, I went online and looked at the agenda, and I was shocked to see that public comment was 26th in the order. And I remember at a Hercules City Council, they always have it near the beginning. It doesn't have to be first. Like last night, it was nice to see you and Ms. Cronenberg there, and I hope to see you regularly. I spoke at a couple of City Council meetings in favor of Measure K, telling people that I was for it, and I hope they would vote for it. And it would have been great to have you guys there, too. But anyways, back to the petition. I wrote a petition, and it goes like this. I am a resident living in the boundaries of the West Contra Costa Unified School District. I respectfully request that public comment be permanently moved to near the beginning of all school board meetings to encourage public participation. On the first page of your agenda, you say that the public is warmly invited, but it doesn't feel very warm if you're after 25 discussion items. It's very discouraging, and most people probably wouldn't even come. So anyways, I'd like to request that this be put on a future agenda item of where public comment is and why and how much public participation
Please
you
conclude your
actually want.
remarks.
Thank you.
Sarah Wolfsen.
Good evening. I'm Leslie Reckler. I'm a resident of Kensington. I have 2 kids in the Kensington Hilltop School. I was also a ground soldier in the war on Measure K. I am here tonight to just tell you a couple of things. The first one is that I'm hoping that you can address the communities as best you can of what school is going to look like in August when we reopen. I think we really want to know and be prepared for it. The second is I'm asking that you put your hand in the couch and underneath the cushions and look for any money that you have to look at class size reduction. Does it have to be 28? Can it be 27, 26? Anything, put it in there. The third is that I want you to consider putting this measure back on the November ballot. And if I have to go out there and walk the streets and find 500 votes, I will go and do it. They know I will. And then the other thing is that I would like you to have a number of town hall meetings where you solicit questions and comments, and let's put together a plan of where we go from here. Do we look to get rid of certain districts that are uncooperative? Do we look to lower to 55% the number of yes votes we need to pass measures? What do we do? Because it's not like we're getting rid of basket weaving or Mandarin or some other, superfluous stuff. We don't have librarians. We don't have sports. We don't have counselors. And that's, we're to the bone. We're below the bone. And that's it. I thank you, and I thank you for your service.
My name is Sarah Wolfsen. I'm a resident of El Cerrito, and I have 2 children who go to Kensington Hilltop School. And mine is really an emotional plea tonight to really look at keeping class size reduction just standard. I mean, I've had one child who's now going into 3rd grade who had such a difficult time in 1st grade with reading, which is a basic thing she's going to need. And it took her all year just to get it. She had 20 children in her class. I cannot imagine if there were 26, 27, 28 to do that. I've already seen the difference with my kindergartner now this year compared to 2-3 years ago, the difference in class size. And I just think it's a critical time for children until they can be more independent, until they can read. I think they need a smaller class size. So I don't have any solutions, I'm afraid. And I know money's tight, but I really would love to see that happen. And that's it.
Hello. My name is Ellen Hartigan-O'Connor, and I am also a parent at Kensington Elementary, and I also worked with many of you on the Measure K campaign. And so I'm here representing all of the parents who fought very hard for this and brought in votes and participation, and want to express, of course, our mutual dismay that I know is shared with the board. What I want and what I'm hearing parents ask for now is, as you discuss the budget, I want to hear all of the board members talk about long-term and short-term plans for how they're going to address this to keep education the central focus of what's going on here. We've heard a fair amount from Mr. Ramsey, and I've really appreciated that he's talked about, long term, what can we do, reconfiguring the district, what can we do at the state level. I was talking with Madeline Cronenberg about moving from 2/3 to 55% on these parcel taxes. I want to hear from all of the board members as they talk about the budget, and I want to hear about short-term measures too. You hear this call for class size reduction. I want to hear about ideas that people have about finding money for aids for special needs students or other areas of money that could be working into getting more professionals and adults into the classroom to alleviate some of these problems. And so I want to hear creativity and thought from the board members. There are many parents who are very energized around these issues, and I don't want to see their frustration in the failure of Measure K to dissipate into despair. They're looking for leadership. We need to hear from the board. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nathalie van Linder, and I am a resident of Kensington, and my twins also go to Kensington Hilltop School. I have a very long story here, but my fellow parents have done a great job, really, on summarizing our feelings. So, I want to commend the board. I want to commend all the volunteers and all the street warriors, and Liz Sanders and everybody. I'm really proud of our community, our greater community, of what we have not accomplished, I guess, but we came out in great force, and when you look at the votes in a little bit more detail, it just is disappointing. In fact, it's really maybe infuriating that, 1/4 of our district can decide what 3/4 of our district cannot do. So I guess that begs the question, how do we move forward? How can we break this impasse? I mean, clearly the majority of our district has voted overwhelmingly to support education, and part of our district just continues to not support education. So I guess we need to look at solutions. For one, I hope that the parcel tax will be back on the ballot, and all of us will be back out there crusading. But I also think maybe we need to look at some other solutions, and I hope the board will show some leadership and show us, how can we accomplish change. On the other hand, also, obviously, we want to know, as the president of our education foundation at Kensington Hilltop, I'd really like to know what are the plans for next year. We really would like to hear from the board. What are the consequences? Are there, again, with class size reduction, is there any way to not increase to 28, but maybe less than that? What are the plans to create creative ways to deal with this shortfall? So thank you very much, all of you, for your support, and hopefully that measure will be back on the ballot and successful in November. Next time.
Mr. Kirkman?
From henceforth, I shall address you as the Board of Takeaway. You take away options from the public, the charter school, without any thought whatsoever, because we know that you all have an agenda. And your agenda is to make every kid, Mrs. Cronenberg, college preparatory. We're a 35th percentile district. Many of our kids cannot make it in college, nor do they want to go to college. But yet, you keep ramming this down their throat. Foreign language this, algebra that, so forth and so on. You have a situation where these kids can express themselves the way Americans should, and you take it away because you're greedy. Let's talk about greed. You never mess with success. We had a good parcel tax at 7.2 cents per hundred. And then you add on 3 cents. What does that add on to the average household, Mr. Ramsey? Do you know?
$44.
$60 for me. I voted for it. Now, your greed is outrageous. You must come back in November or whenever and bring it back to 7.1 cent per hundred, whatever. Go back. You don't mess with success. We had 79% pass the 7.1 cent parcel tax. What are you guys thinking of? You don't have any common sense whatsoever. Not once in all of these advertisements did I say that you emphasize athletics. Not one time. So let's get back on the ball. Use some common sense.
Any more public comment?